Hi, everyone. It's Amanda Rieger Green. Welcome to Soul Sessions. Thank you for joining me today. We are going to dive into the astrology and numerology of October. And listen, I've got to tell you this. I would love to be able to say, it's so light, it's so easy, it's so joyful. But it's another month of transformation. It's another month of eclipse like energy. Yet at the same time, it has a lightness about it that is drastically different from September. And you will feel this, you will notice it. And I will give you some guidance and insight into utilizing your time wisely in a very accessible and practical way, while also grounding yourself through your own transformational journey, your own alchemical passageway. So continue to embrace that hope and mystery and faith. Don't lose it during this time, but know that, yeah, you're going to have the setbacks and delays and wonky challenges. It's like kinks are being worked out of your hose. Now, if you're a hose, your kinks are being worked out. Instead of those feeling oppressive and heavy, be playful. The message in this month is very paradoxical. And what I love about this energy, of course, the sun is in Libra. In the northern hemisphere, we're in the fall. The southern hemisphere, it's the spring. We have a change of season. So it brings a new flavor, but there's an element of balance. Hello, Libra energy. We are balancing out a lot of the groundwork we have laid, the foundational, internal big shifts and changes that I know you're feeling, I'm feeling, we're walking through. And what I have noticed already by marinating in the energy field is September felt very literal, logistical. And of course, that sounds very Virgo of me. And the sun was in Virgo, and we had intense Virgo lessons, but it felt that way. And with the sun in Libra, it feels less logistical and more rhythmic. What the heck do I mean by that? Is it doesn't feel so literal in my face as it feels more of like a dance, a dancing with the energy. And I know that sounds a bit elusive, but I think you're going to start to feel it and notice it too, versus it being so put one foot in front of the other. What's showing up today? What am I learning from this today? What do I need to get accomplished today? It's kind of loosening the grip on the logistics. And yes, you show up for life and what's on your plate, or you be flexible with yourself and change your plans. But it's more, can you feel the shift in your rhythm, in your frequency field, in your body, in your energy? And how are you starting to kind of loosen up? And the simplest thing that I do to loosen up is to loosen up. To roll my shoulders back, roll my neck around, open and close my jaw, shake my hands out, do that stuff because it's like you're working the kinks out energetically so you can feel a little bit of exhale and energetic change in the way you physically move your body and respond to whatever is showing up in your field. And for me, one of the biggest energetic signatures of this month is not allowing the gravitas, the heaviness of life and what is showing up in life for you and for all of us, steal your freaking levity. Be light, be delightful, choose light, choose playfulness, choose joy. How can you integrate something delightful into your day? And this makes me smile. And I'm having a weird, like perceptually, I'm having a weird time myself integrating this. And I'll tell you, I'll explain myself in a moment. But I'm laughing because I'm having kind of a hard time, and not hard like this is a, major life problem, but more hard like perceptively. I'm a Libra. I love Libra season. I love the fall. What I love about the fall is the aesthetic of the fall. I love pumpkins in the grocery store. Um, I think pumpkin lattes and pumpkin pie are disgusting, but I love pumpkins. I'm not a pumpkin latte gal, but I love it when the chalkboard at the coffee shop says pumpkin lattes. It's pumpkin season. I will not order one of those, but I get a lot of delight in pumpkin season. And I'm down here in Ecuador and there's no pumpkins. Like it's the spring in in the southern hemisphere for me, and fall is my favorite. But there's no pumpkins. I see Halloween costumes and some Halloween shops and things like that, but there's no, like, fall aesthetic anywhere. So I'm missing it, and at the same time, I'm also like, "Well, it's an adventure. I'm embracing something new. I'm finding my own pumpkin season within." And I know that's a silly example, but it's also one of those things where I'm having to find new things in this season and this sense of place where I am that bring me the same kind of delight, because fall brings me delight. What brings you delight? Where do you find delightfulness? And I love that word because it's about lightheartedness, airiness, just joy for the sake of joy. And oftentimes, joy comes in little tiny packages, small things that are seemingly insignificant or inconsequential. And I'll tell you something really cool that happened, and I feel like it sets the tone and energetic signature for all of us this month. My husband and I were in what's called El Centro, which is the downtown, and I say that in air quotes, area of Cuenca. And it's has all this beautiful Spanish heritage, and there's people out and about and cool architecture and just fun hustle and bustle and colors and things to look at. So it's really delightful to the senses, just the experience. So I can find delight there, of course. But anyway, we were walking, this past weekend, and there have passed by this little Incan woman, and she was definitely Incan, so she was shorter in stature and her skin and her features, and just simple. And when I say simple, I mean just present and sweet and simple. And we passed by each other, and Dennis was behind me. My husband was behind me, and she and I passed, and I smiled at her, and she smiled back at me. And then the two of us just kept smiling each other, and we started laughing. And it was the weirdest, most beautiful, sweetest, delightful thing. And it was like she saw me, and like, just seeing her, I just saw her light and her sweetness, and it made me happy, and I smiled back, and she saw the light in me. And so as I pass, I'm kinda, like, giggling and on a high, and Dennis goes, "What just happened back there?" He's like, "Did you meet your twin?" Like, what? He witnessed the whole exchange that lasted, like, 8 seconds. But he witnessed it, and I was like, "I don't know, but she saw me and I saw her, and it was so happy and delightful." And as I bebopped down the street, I just kept thinking, "Wow, this is what life is about." This this human interaction, this small, simple human interaction felt so good, so true, so real. More. I want more of this. I am this. This is permeating my energy field. So I encourage you to set the tone, the feel, the energy for yourself for the month of October. Set the intention that you expect delight, that you are the light, you give the light, and you receive the light in your daily human interactions. So set the intention that you will do things in your day and look for experiences or exchange in your day that create the light. And a simple example is my pets, my dogs. Dogs or cats or whatever your pets are, they're happy to see you. It doesn't matter if you've been gone 8 hours or 35 minutes. They get excited when you walk in the door with the same delight, no matter how long you're gone. Pets are a great place to experience and exchange delight. Set the stage for levity and remember that gravity, the heaviness, do not allow that to steal your light, even during just the heavy stuff that you're navigating. This is a transformational and transformative month, astrologically and numerologically. So remember that we are continuing to walk through this portal of endings and beginnings still going on, but can you bring in more rhythm and play and lightness and levity and see yourself as playful and not trapped so much under the pressure of life and the day-to-day intensity. So finding something to delight in each day, but also be teachable. I think the other I don't think, I feel and know the other energetic signature this month is, am I open to being teachable? Or do I think I have it all? I got it all. I know it all. I'm the end all and the be all. Because that's the ego. And we can all be like, I got it. I'm running the show. I'm doing this. But that is small energy. It's what am I learning from this? And Libra season, of course, which is about and ushers in balance and harmony, is also about relationship. What am I learning through the other? What are other people reflecting back to me? Are they reflecting back light? Or are they reflecting back maybe a shadow frequency that I need to integrate or that I haven't been able or had the capacity to recognize at this time? So just be teachable and don't allow the heaviness to overshadow your light. Let the light eclipse the heaviness, the darkness, and bring those polarities together. So, numerologically, the reason it feels like an eclipse is the numerology is eclipse kind of energy. We are in a one universal month under the blanket of a nine universal year. The one is about beginnings, the nine is about completions. It's like alpha and omega energy. It's beginnings and endings all together. And the 19, one plus like one and nine, it's a karmic number. And what do I mean by a karmic number? It is about transformation. It is about death and rebirth, and not so much literal death, although sometimes grief and death can be a part of it. But October may bring grief up for you, meaning really recognizing what you're shedding, what you've outgrown, and giving yourself some space to grieve that. And I know for myself and many other people, we have been recognizing that we are changing, we are evolving. Our insides are really starting to shout louder, man, I don't love that anymore. Or man, I've outgrown this relationship, this job, this set of people, this dynamic, this behavior, this old pattern or story. Well, when we recognize that and we start to transform and change, grief accompanies that. And I think that the numerology says, hey, you are moving forward and continuing on your trajectory forward and upward and with greater depth simultaneously. But it's also imperative to give credence or credit to shed the identities, the stages and the phases, and sorrow comes with that. I was scrolling through something the other day, and it was funny because I was thinking about sadness and sorrow and grieving and shedding and letting go, this theme of 2025. And something popped up, and someone was talking about where sadness accumulates and how to physically shed it. And they were talking about right under the clavicle. And I've talked about this before, like the space, it's a pressure point, these pressure points right under our clavicle. If you massage under both or either clavicle, it's kind of tight. It's like a pressure point, but something feels really good and releases when you apply that pressure right there. But what someone said, and they were talking more about Chinese medicine, if either the right or the left side of your body, and of course, the right side of the body is typically masculine and the left side more feminine. So you can do this on both sides. But if you massage right under your clavicle a little bit and you acknowledge that there's sadness being held there, sorrow, old pain, old trauma, however, old versions of you, old identities of you that are kind of trapped right in that heart space. Because, of course, this is the heart chakra. But if you massage that and then you work it down your arm, like you just kinda push the energy out your fingertips and down your arm. You massage and push it down. You're helping your body to detox and release the trapping of sadness on a physical and physiological level that maybe on a spiritual, mental, or emotional level you've been processing. So I think that's a wonderful practice for all of us this month is to continually recognize if we feel grief, sadness, the implications of change in our own life, and to actually acknowledge it in the physical body and allow it, move it out of your body and feel good about that, that you're doing something to assist your actual physical grieving alongside of your soul's trajectory and growth. And I think that'll be helpful. So, with the energy of the 1 and the 9, we're in a 1 month. And shoot, the 1 month, I love being in a 1 month because it's about new beginnings and individuality and starting out on a new path, like trailblazing, pioneering energy. But under the 9 blanket, we're moving forward and we are stepping into a new path or onto a new path or continuing forward that way. But also, it's about moving with greater discernment and deliberation. So it's not about being a loose cannon and just moving forward without awareness or reactively. And also with the energy of the 1, and especially while the sun is in Libra, remembering to ask for help. Because the 1 oftentimes thinks, I got this, I'm going to do it, I can do it all on my own. I'm very independent. I'm very capable. It waxes so independent and individualistic, which is part of its beauty, but that it gets to be like a horse with blinders and forgets to say, oh my gosh, I'm tired or I need some rest. Or, you know what? I'm going to need to reschedule this today. I don't have the capacity or I can't show up and pretend to have the energy or the focus when my body is literally not capable of being present. So honoring where you are, communicating that, but remembering to ask for help when you need it. And that help may be from your friends, your coworkers, your family, but it also remembering to talk to your soul, your guides, your higher self. And with the energy of the 9 and the 1, one of the things that I have learned about that energy is it takes a lot of faith, just a lot of let go and let God. I feel like it's a real testing of that energy in terms of, do I trust that I'm going to have or exactly what I need, whether it's internal resources, know-how, ability, capability, am I gonna have what I need? And how do I put that into action while also practicing this element of surrender and letting go? And so it's very paradoxical. It asks us to balance forward momentum with also shedding and letting go. So it's a little tricky, but like I said, make it playful, make it like a dance. You don't have to hyper focus on it. Just see what it brings up for you as far as your ideas, your forward momentum, your insights, but also what needs to be cleared away or let go of in order for your new trajectory forward to happen and solidify. Meaning, like, let's say love is something that's coming up for you and you really are like, gosh, I want my person. Like, when is my person coming? But in your heart, you're pining away for an old relationship that didn't work out. Well, that right there is anchoring you into something in the past, an old rhetoric, an old story, an old energy. So, how is it going to make space for that new person to really come in? Looking at where maybe your beliefs or your unconscious is hanging on to an old story, but your energy is saying, but I want to go here, but I'm still really stuck here. That's the one in the nine. And if you can focus in one area instead of overwhelming yourself with 50 goals or projects, focus on one or two things this month to be teachable around, to be playful with, and to really be willing to grieve an outdated belief system attachment and to let it go with deeper faith and trust and really give it to the universe. Give it to the universe to work out for you. So let's talk about the astrology. The astrology this month is, and I am literally just talking about the major transits, not all the aspects, because there's a lot of stuff going on in the aspects, but the major transits, there's not that many, but they pack a punch. So on October 6th, Mercury will enter Scorpio and there's an Aries full moon. The Aries full moon, it's at 11:47 p.m. Eastern time. The sun is at 14 degrees of Libra and the moon is at 14 degrees of Aries. Libra, partnership, relationship, balance, harmony, Aries, like the one energy in numerology, individual, new beginnings, bold, daring, courageous, it is always an incredibly beautiful moon to balance out polarity, to summon your own inner truth, to stand in your own light, and also be teachable and open to what other people, experiences, partnerships, relationships are reflecting back to you. So it's one of those lunations, the full moon in Aries, that is all about the nuance of polarity. Who am I? What do I need? Where do I stand in my life? And what am I learning through the relationships and through the other and people in my life? On the same day, Mercury moves into Scorpio. So having a full moon and then Mercury moving into Scorpio, which is about diving deep and penetrating perceptions and psychological insight and psychoanalysis and fearless inquiry and alchemy and healing through the shadow. I mean, like, it's an intense full moon. So know that while Mercury is in Scorpio, one of the things that I really value once Mercury moves from Libra, where it's more communicative and extroverted and playful and light, when it moves into Scorpio, it is so creative, mentally, intellectually, psychologically probing and creating, but it loves to go deep. And you remember one of the themes I shared, energetic signatures of this month, is bringing in levity, easiness, playfulness, lightheartedness, delight. This full moon is intense. It's a full moon. Full moons are intense anyway because they stretch us. They bring opposition. They bring things into the light. And it may be one of those full moons where something is revealed to you that's jarring, that's painful, that's triggering, that really throws you off your flippin' game. Whatever is revealed, jarring, or throws you off your game, it is for you to learn something from so it gets you where you're going. Like if you've been hanging on to this job, this relationship, this is really going to work out. This is the kind of full moon that basically says, okay, you think it's going to work out, but we're just going to give you more evidence because you're not convinced yet that you're putting a square peg in a round hole. So it may be a very uncomfortable couple of days, like October 5th through the 7th. Just pay attention. And if you're aware of that, if something like gets you off your game, instead of being dragged into the drama, step back and bring in the light. Be teachable. What am I learning from this? And what is this pain or discomfort working out of my cells and DNA, and do your little practice here. Work the sorrow and the pain out of your body and shed it off, and be true to yourself. This full moon asks us to be true to ourselves and really recognize it may be a very emotional full moon where it feels like deep emotional pain may surface. And if that shows up for you, remembering that any emotional pain or discomfort that is coming up for you, it's trying to metabolize or detox out of your system, not take you down. So I would say that around this full moon, it's a great full moon to plan something easy and delightful. Cook dinner at home. Maybe you're not out in a big crowd or with a group of friends. Maybe you just do something intimate and for yourself that nurtures your own experience and is more private versus extroverted and out and amongst people. And obviously, we have plans and schedules and things on the calendar, and maybe your kids have a game and, need to be driven all over town. Well, you can't change those schedules, but how can you create time for yourself? It's almost like this full moon is a very purifying full moon in a way, and it's very polarizing. So know that with the energy. On October 13th, again, we have two big things happening. Venus enters Libra, which Venus entering Libra isn't a big thing. Mercury entering Scorpio isn't a big thing. It's a regular thing. But when you have Mercury entering Scorpio and a full moon on the same day, it's like, whoa, we got like big energy, like punctuation points are happening. Well, October the 13th is the same way. Venus enters Libra and Pluto stations direct. So that's an important thing. Why is it important? Pluto has been retrograde since May. And when Pluto is retrograde, Pluto is about death, rebirth, transformation, alchemy, shadow work, really diving deep. It's been behind the scenes. Now it is stationing direct. Pluto is so slow moving that Pluto is basically standing still in the sky all of October. It's not moving much one way or the other. So Pluto being about transformation and us being out of astrological eclipse season, we've got numerological eclipse season here, the 1 and the 9, and then Pluto, death, rebirth, transformation is standing still, punctuating our energy. That's why October feels like another eclipse portal. And I'm going to do a whole podcast on Pluto Direct. Pluto stations direct at 1 degree of Aquarius, and it's just moved from about 3 degrees of Aquarius back to 1 degree of Aquarius. Pluto doesn't move fast, but I'm going to do a whole podcast on utilizing Pluto's station, being able to reflect on where you've grown, where you've transformed, and what you've learned during the retrograde, and then using its station direct and forward momentum because it will bring things out. And also, you will see some action and traction and things that weren't solidifying start to happen in real time in the weeks ahead, but it's going to take a bit for that energy to solidify and translate externally. So I will do a whole podcast on that. But it's kind of cheeky, I think, that Pluto stations direct, which is so heavy, dark, and intense, and serious, and psychological. And Venus moves into Libra, and Venus rules Libra, and it's beauty and harmony and love and delight, poetry and sexiness and all those things. So it's kind of cheeky to me that the astrology is saying we've got all this intensity, but make it light, make it beautiful, make it playful. Hence some of the energetic signature this month. And with Venus in Libra, Venus, of course, amplifies Libra's energy that is harmony seeking and it's magnetic and charming. It's also diplomatic and able to see both sides of things. It's also aesthetic. Venus in Libra loves the beauty of life, the aesthetic of life. Pumpkin season, the fall. To me, that is the epitome of Venus in Libra, at least in the fall. is pumpkin season, the things that are just beautiful. And what I think of in Libra season, and especially amplified through the lens of Venus, which Venus denotes our creativity. Of course, it governs relationships and beauty and poetry. But I think about cinematography, and I've mentioned this before in my podcast, is seeing the cinematography of your life, like your life looking like a movie. And I'm not talking about a horror movie or a sci-fi. I'm talking about like you've got mail, something's got to give. I love losing myself in the cinematography of a movie. How can you bring that into life? How can you see your life in living color with like a theme song, like with music playing in the background with a beautiful aesthetic? And I know that's a stretch sometimes, but it's like we were the same day that we were in El Centro in Cuenca. It was Saturday, so lots was happening and all of the booths and the markets were open. But Ecuador is the largest exporter of flowers in the world. Most of the flowers that, like, unless they're locally sourced, they come from Ecuador, like in the grocery stores and in a lot of the big flower distributors, they come from Ecuador. And when we were walking downtown, there's, of course, all these cool booths and things, but there were so many fresh flowers and plants. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this is so beautiful and delightful. I didn't buy a darn thing because I didn't need to buy anything in that moment. I just was wandering around thinking, like, oh, like it's so colorful, it's so beautiful, it's so wow. Wow. With Venus in Libra and even Pluto stationing direct, how can you see the beauty and the poetry and the cinematography of your life, however that looks? And it takes a little bit of engagement, awareness, but also your imagination. Use your imagination. On October 21st, there will be a new moon in Libra, and that new moon is at 28 degrees of Libra. I find it very curious that the last new moon we had, which was an eclipse and it was in Virgo, was at the anaretic degree at 29 degrees. And it was intense. And we all felt that new moon in September, just before the sun moved into Libra. But this new moon is also in the last degrees of Libra, which denotes an apex of energy. And that moon is at 8:25 a.m. on October 21st, just before the sun will move into Scorpio. But the Libra new moon is a beautiful harmonic reset. It is a wonderful new moon to set intentions around cooperation, balance, harmony, peace, collaboration, fostering beauty in your life, in your interactions. And remember, Venus is in Libra. So we have this exalted energy where we can align our values, because Venus also rules values, with is the aesthetics of our life. So set intentions on that new moon around harmony and new beginnings in how you see and cultivate harmony and beauty in your life. And for me, the way that I express and experience that is seeing life like poetry. And I'm not a big poetry reader. I do have poets I love. I love to read beautiful poetry, but it's not like my go-to. But I absolutely know when my life feels poetic and beautiful, and aspects of my life feel almost like a movie or so beautiful that they're unreal. And it's not magnificent, huge things, it's those small interactions, like seeing the flower markets downtown and all of these gorgeous flowers, or seeing that woman and us just engaging in this smile. It was like the color in life was like a movie. It was almost unreal. It was so magnetic. So do something on that Libra new moon that makes you feel beautiful or create beauty. And you know what? It may be getting your hair done or your nails done or going and buying yourself something that feels beautiful, whether it's for your home or buying yourself flowers, or it is, you want to have some Botox. I don't care. Do something that feels beautiful and aesthetic to you because that's what the energy is asking. Do you feel beautiful? Do you do things in your life that bring in and call in more beauty? Do you expect beauty in life? And life has been so intense. This month and this season is asking us to create beauty and set beauty as a standard of life. And beauty can come in a multitude of forms, but set the stage, set the precedence for beauty to be your norm, for life to be beautiful, for you to be and feel beautiful. On October 22nd, we go straight from beauty and lightheartedness into the sun entering Scorpio. So the energy, the light turns to this depth and intensity, which Scorpio loves. And all of the astrological signs are set up in this fashion where they feed off of each other's energies and polarity of introversion and extroversion. So we go from kind of beauty and poetry and cinematography into the depths of our soul. And what I think is quite lovely about this and exciting even is all of the external aesthetic beauty. Can you start to really feel and see it internally? And as the sun enters Scorpio, and Mercury will still be in Scorpio as well, it's a great time to feel your beauty beneath the surface. And it may take feeling the shadows and the heaviness beneath the surface in order to clear that out or move it away to find the beauty within. So take the depth of Scorpio season and make it light. Like, how can you continue to bring the light and shine your light into the depths and the darkness? And on October 29th, Mercury will move from Scorpio into Sagittarius. And I love it when Mercury moves into Sag because it stretches our horizons, our brains, our mind, our philosophies of life. And I tell you what, I'm down here in Ecuador and I am really having to practice my Spanish. Think about getting healthcare insurance in Spanish and all the documents. You know how complex it is to navigate and sign documents? Well, when it's all in Spanish and you can't translate all of those, my brain at the end of the day feels tired. Sometimes with Mercury and Sag, your brain can feel on overload because it's wanting to grow and stretch and expand. With Mercury and Sagittarius, learn something, pick up something to learn, whether you get a book and you explore something in astrology or numerology, or it's a spiritual book, or it's something practical and you're wanting to learn to bake. You're not a baker. You typically like to cook and you really want to figure out how to, you know, get your starter kit and do sourdough. Do something that denotes and gives the example or demonstrates to the universe that you want to learn something, because what it will do, it will expand your internal horizons, it will stretch your mind, but you will also be falling in that rhythm of expansion while we've had all of this transformation and growth. So there's a lot happening in the energy field. There's so much going on. I encourage you all to be playful, to be teachable, and to bring in the light and not allow all the heaviness to consume your light body, your light source. Utilize this time wisely to ground yourself through this transformational journey. The foundation that you've been laying and attuning to internally, give it more light, feed it with your light and your energy, and trust. Yes, I can say trust the process, but trust your energy, trust in your hope and your faith, and that you're calling more light into your body through your beliefs, your actions, your faith, your hope. And the more light you cultivate internally and share and express in the world in playful and light and easy ways, the more acceleration you will feel and the more magic you will see in your day to day experiences. Stay true to yourself and be well. Take care, everyone. Thank you for joining me.